There. Today I want to briefly consider the Polaroid Cube Plus, which is versatile, compact, and really user-friendly in my opinion, plus it touts a strong performance. I say that having tested quite a few different options, from the budget-friendly types like the Dasneys to the SJ4000s, to the more recognized names like the GoPro Session, and whatnot. Now, a few things I want to note in here. I want to show you how to set up the Wi-Fi, because it's kind of different if you've never done anything like that. And also, before I do that, I want to talk about the specs here to kind of help you with maybe purchasing decisions. So if you already have it and you want to just know how to set it up, just skip ahead in the video. All right. Now, first of all, with range, this touts a range of 30 feet. Now, I've tested it up to about 20 feet, and the only interruption in the Wi-Fi I've experienced so far was in a very remote locale. I was kind of surprised that it interrupted at all, and I just rebooted the app. It didn't take but a few seconds. I was good to go again. And that's an area that you have problems with any kind of reception or anything else. So I didn't know if it cut into this, but, you know, it was surprising. Interestingly, I've not had any problems in, say, Cityscape, where I thought I might actually have some issues because of all the different types of technology, you know, that avail there, and the fact that, you know, you can experience interruptions with that. Now, this records in full HD. You know, something that you want to consider with a camera is whether or not it's full HD or if it's upsizing its video to full HD, or trying to camouflage it and make it look like full HD. You know, that's a terrible thing. If you have a camera, you're recording something that's important, you know, or irreplaceable, and then you find out your image quality is terrible. So with this, I feel really good about that. It records in 1440p at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 60 or 30 frames per second, or 720p at 120, 60 or 30 frames per second. You can get up to 8 megapixel images, plus it has image stabilization. You can tell, and if you've ever used anything without an image stabilizer, you know the importance of having something like that. It also has the 124 degree wide viewing angle, and with that, that's really important to me. When you're talking about going outside and capturing motion, landscapes, or say you're recording while you're driving or something, you really want a wide angle, you know, otherwise you're chopping off the outsides and you're not catching how the background influences the foreground as much. And I really think that's an important thing. You know, if you have an action cam and it will not go up to a wide viewing angle, then perhaps you should consider something else. Now this, I'm going to pry the back open. You know, you have to, there may be a little bit of give and take here, because this thing, it seals very solidly. It's water resistant, and popping it open, interestingly enough, popping it open, I thought I was going to have to use a screwdriver at first, because, you know, if you use your fingernails, you're going to break a fingernail doing this, just to warn you. I've actually been using a plug, but the best thing that I found that worked for me, you know, the ID badges that a lot of people wear, the little clip there on the one side, it clips under and just pops it right open. So that's just something to think about. I don't like using a screwdriver. It didn't work as well, to be honest. Now here's your micro SD slot. Your micro SD card capacity goes up to 128 gigabytes, which is huge for one of these little cameras. A lot of them will only do like 32 to 64 gigs, so I was really impressed by that. Also, you have your charger here, which is really easy to find. You have a 600 milliamp hour battery, you know, and this says that it will record up to 107 minutes. Now, I've actually had up to an hour and a half performance out of it. I've been really impressed with that, to be honest. My initial charge that I did actually performed slightly worse, but after that, I've been getting a solid performance out of it, you know, and it doesn't matter if I've been stopping or not, which is, again, that's pretty impressive when you get down to it. Now, there's a couple things I want to note. Also, I guess with, I guess they're kind of spec related. You know, first of all, you have this outside cover, and it feels really good. It's a, it is typical with the Polaroid type setup. You know, if you've ever touched one, you know kind of what the newer ones feel like there. I like it. I like that rubberized feel, and it has that grip component. It's not that slick, soft rubber, so that grip, it's actually a good grip for such a small camera. Now, with mounting, I'm torn on the mounting thing here. I'm going to go over pros first. And you can pick up different types of mounts with Polaroid, but with the mounting, it's a magnetic mount here. It's got a magnetic base mount. It's really strong too. This is how it was initially displayed. And to show you, this thing will slap on and hold no matter what. The positives there, you can attach it to anything metal. You know, slap it to a filing cabinet, slap it to the side of your normal mount types. And I guess size-wise anyway, you know, you would have problems with that. But with magnetics, there's a workaround if you don't have a lot of money to spend on your name brands, or you haven't found anything that's cost-effective. There are a lot of cell phones that actually use magnetic bases. You know, the cell phone mounts for your cars and whatnot. And I have a couple, and they worked really well with this setup. So that was something that helped me out with cost a little bit and kind of made me happy when I thought about that. Also included here is the mounting case. I thought the case was kind of interesting with this. It's got a soft rubberized grip. It basically slides over. You have a round button here. I would have liked to have a Wi-Fi button as well, you know, so I could push on it, but that does indicate where it's at. And this thing beeps at you when you're setting it up, as you'll notice as we go along. So you can use it in here. It has a lanyard type strap that you can adjust, so you can adjust it to wrist use or neck use, and that is a useful feature. Now, when we're getting down to use here, I'm going to use a cell phone and show you. You need to go on Google Play or wherever you get your apps and download the Polaroid Cube Plus app. Just search for that. So after you've downloaded that, you need to turn this on. And it'll take just a second. You can hear it beep at you 3 times, so you know you're good to go. Then we want to turn the Wi-Fi on. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and act like I have not set up Wi-Fi at all. What you do is you go into your phone, go to your Wi-Fi settings, and when you go to your Wi-Fi settings and page down, you'll actually see a Cube setup, and you want to just try to connect to it. The code for it, my first code, I've not changed the code at all. So it came with initial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 code, and connect. You know, the connection does not take very long, really. So I'm going through step by step with this. I apologize for any delay here, but I kind of want to give you a feeling of how long this takes and if you're doing things right. Now, after it's connected, again, that's different from Bluetooth. You know, we're accustomed to going into Bluetooth settings. In fact, I did that wrong, to be honest, with my first try. So, you know, you've got your setup. It's good to go. You want to go into your app, open it up, and connect to your Cube. Okay, so once it connects, you can see that it's recording here. You know, we're getting into that matrix type feel since I'm going to record on recording. But, you know, when you're looking at it, you have your setup. I mean, like I say, this is a real easy setup here. First of all, you have your recording options. So you're going to decide slow, time delay, or picture. You know, flipping it over to picture, you have your 8 megapixel setup, 3, 6, and you can see it going there, and you have your stutter delay there. So you can you know, you could take pictures, get yourself into a frame or whatever. Now, you have your 1080p setting. You can actually just change your settings. Here's the 1440, and, you know, you see your frames per second. So you're really just, it's very easy to cycle through this stuff. You know, you can see where I can change the frames per second, and that's going to really help determine a lot of things when you're talking about recording options. And again, all you're doing after you set that up is you're going to hit record. You're going to have a couple of beeps to give you a moment to set up, and then it's recording. You know, everything's live there. So that's really all you're looking at. There's not a lot of delay in that. Every now and then, if you have a problem with the Wi-Fi for some reason, start your app over and you should be good to go. Now, you can see, I'm going to turn this off. First of all, I'm going to show you a couple other things. I'm going to move my phone out of the way. Now, you have an indicator here that's showing you what type of charge you have. I've not charged this up in a little bit. I'm trying to let it die all the way. You can see it's on the red indication, which The instructions that it comes with are very limited, but you can look up further instructions, and this thing will actually warn you when it's getting close to it's going to die, so you know you need to charge it up. I think it only warns you up to 10%. The colors will start changing, but it'll warn you on the app itself. So I mean, that is useful there. I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to end up charging this in just a minute. But if it's charged well, it'll have a nice green color, and then the color actually changes after it wears down so far. And again, you can look at the specs to really note exactly when that happens. The lens itself is a f2.8, which is a good setting. A lot of different DSLR lenses use that. You know, when you're getting into, say, macro photography or just some basic photography, obviously it's going to make colors show up in everything. You're still going to have some shadowing problems if you're not careful, so you want to keep that in mind. Anyway, I think that covers a lot with this. You know, there's still more to cover with it, of course. I may upload an unboxing video. I detest those, to be honest, but the packaging on here is actually pretty cool. You know, it deserves a little bit of a shout out. I'll also end up uploading some test footage as well to show on the other social media sites. So if you want to know anything about that, just kind of hit me up in comments and I'll direct you to the right spot. All right. Thank you.